The healing came when I stopped trying to fix myself and started listening to myself.
Mm. I loved what you said about your process. Similar to me, the key piece is about listening and then getting to know yourself and then building that trust in yourself.
And when I focus on this co-regulation, when you touch your skin to skin, it releases oxytocin in your system.
Your brain didn't tell your body, ooh, this is scary. You need to get some goosebumps going and be ready to run. Your body knew what to do and your body did it. Wow.
So having that experience embodied, it makes it available and accessible as you move forward in life and your relationships with others.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Healing You Method with Gloria Lybecker, and I'm her host, Gail Donahue. And today, what we're going to be doing is focusing on talking about developmental wounds. Developmental wounds that come from our childhood. We're going to be looking at parts language and reparenting. How do we reparent ourselves? So, Gloria, let's start with these wounds from childhood and looking at what happens. Can you talk a bit about our coping skills and what early coping skills can then still hijack our adult choices?
Well, I know for myself, for much of my life, my early coping skill was the habit of staying really small and silent to keep the peace. And as a child, I learned to scan my environment constantly. I was always just reading the room, anticipating the needs of others, and shrinking my presence. So, because that's how I believed I could have others feel comfortable. It helped me survive. And
Mm.
as an adult, I find that really hijacks my ability to show up fully. And what that might look like is I'd catch myself deferring or over apologizing or avoiding visibility, especially when it something deeply mattered to me. That part of me still believed it needed to stay quiet because that would equal safety, because that's what was familiar. But the healing came when I stopped trying to fix myself and started listening to myself.
Mm.
And the key was learning how to welcome myself and recognize that when that pattern comes up, I was attempting to protect myself. And then I could begin to trust that I can take the steps I need to now, that I can recognize what had happened that created that. How about for you, Gail?
Yeah, your journey is very similar to mine as well, Gloria. Coping skills of keeping a very vigilant eye on what was going on and trying to make sure that I didn't rock the boat so that I could still be able to belong and staying small. Yeah, check, staying small and ignoring what I was really feeling and not having any skill sets to express what was happening for me. I certainly didn't understand the emotional turmoil that was going on inside. Now, with the work that I've been doing, I can see it now happening. It doesn't mean that the hijacking has gone. Absolutely not. But I loved what you said about your process. Similar to me, the key piece is about listening and then getting to know yourself and then building that trust in yourself.
Yeah.
What a concept. As little ones, we're not taught to listen to ourselves. We're taught to do what the adults say to do.
Yeah, so true. And the practice of actually welcoming and having warmth when my experience was like, oh, I don't like that. So yeah, it's a really big shift. It truly is. And it's so welcome though. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so welcome. Uh, I know that we've talked about before, you and I, about things that you can do to help your body to get into that warmth, into that welcoming of for yourself versus a pep talk of, oh, come on, you can do it, just try harder. Well, how do you try harder when your nervous system is so activated you can't think properly? So what tools do you have to offer us that are related to giving our bodies some assurance, some warmth, some accompaniment versus the pep talk that we can often hear?
Yeah, well, our bodies really speak a language that are older than words. And when there's an activated part that shows up, it could be a tight chest, it could be shallow breathing, or a drop in the belly. And I really encourage, rather than trying to override it, and many people want to use affirmations or logic. I love what you've been sharing about slowing down. Slowing
Mhm.
down is and taking a pause even. I might put a hand on my heart and I whisper, "Hey, I'm here. You're not alone." It's like I recognize I accompany myself. That's so key because I did feel alone as a child. And when I focus on this co-regulation, when you touch your skin to skin, it releases oxytocin in your system, which it helps especially women feel better. And so that's this co-regulation with myself is the way I would be with a frightened child. So it's my inner child that I'm being with. Sometimes I might hum softly or even swaying, so there's movement. Another thing that I do like to do is I always have a drink handy with a straw because when you suck, it comforts the body. So you think about an infant. What are the ways that you can comfort an infant? Those will comfort the body still. It speaks to the nervous system in ways that words can't. It's the nonverbal cues. And so those moments of embodied presence, they really build the trust from the inside out. And that's how I've experienced reparenting begins. It's not a pep talk, which is very left centric. It's not relational, truly. It's really important to have that felt sense of safety. How do you find it? I know that we do very similar practices, but I love to hear your pieces of experience.
Oh, yes. Well, what you've mentioned there in terms of the body, I love what you said about our body already has the wisdom, and it's making me think, yes, that's so true, so true. And that connection with what do little babies need? And if we're really upset, we need the same kinds of things. And it just makes me recall about really needing that mothering, that aspect of our mothers to support us, to our mothering person to be supporting us and helping us. We need that as mammals to have to build that secure attachment. So I
Mhm.
really love what you're saying about this reparenting ourselves. And it, a story that I have about this connected to our body already knows is a simple thing when you think about watching a scary movie, or if you think about maybe you're walking down a street at night and you have a sense of maybe there's somebody behind you and it feels
Mm.
uncomfortable, or something really scary happens in the movie that you're watching. Well, you might notice that all of a sudden you have goosebumps up back of your neck instantly, like just right away. Well, your brain didn't tell your body, ooh, this is scary. You need to get some goosebumps going and be ready to run. Your body knew what to do, and your body did it. It didn't
Mhm.
have to have anything cognitively happening from your brain. So I think this is so important,
Yeah.
thematic tools that we can do with touching and connecting with ourselves and talking to ourselves and being kind to ourselves to help regulate and not go into those coping skills that were very, all we had access to when we were little ones.
Well, it's our survival. Our
Yeah.
survival's activated. And when you were talking about the goosebumps, you think about cats and dogs and even my horses. But cats and dogs, you can see it so much more clearly when they get the goosebumps, right?
Mhm.
And it can be activated quickly, super quickly. It's like a sense. Our body, as a mammal, our human body senses things that are perhaps unconscious to us. And as we practice this way of being, it becomes more and more available, more conscious, which I love.
Yeah. I mean, even as we're talking right now, I can feel some goosebumps and thinking about it. Oh, that's funny. So, our third focus that we had mentioned at the beginning was talking about parts work. So, can you tell us a little bit about this parts work
Yeah.
you're exploring and looking and developing?
Well, it's really important. I remember when I was first learning about it, I believe it was Bonnie Badnock that was talking about it. She's done a lot of writing with Daniel Siegel about interpersonal neurobiology. And as a therapist, she does a lot of inner parts work. And I really appreciate her. I want to first say there is no right way. One of my patterns is to get it right. So there's no right way. It's truly about what helps you personally to stay in a gentle connection with yourself. And for many of the women that I work with, journaling can be that first doorway. I did a lot of journaling early on, and I still do. I invite them to actually write about or write from that part, that use that voice that's showing up. Don't write about the part, but write as the part. So it's giving it a voice. Allow it to be heard. Other times I guide clients into maybe subtle movements, letting a part express itself through a posture. Maybe there's a posture, different kinds of postures. Sometimes, it's like what comes up? What does your body, what is it wanting to do? And allowing that. Or there's many gestures people can use that may come up in the moment. And then there's voice work too. Voice work is really powerful. My voice, it's something I come back to often. I can tell when my body's been activated because I start losing my voice. Because
Mm,
I had this experience of not to be heard. And so when we speak, allow the speaking, we allow it to be allowed, especially when we speak to the part, like I demonstrated before. Oh, I see you. I'm here with you. And I like to empathize. So for me, it's an inner parts time travel of empathy and acknowledge what it's like for this part. You can feel it. Nobody gets it better than you do, what it's like for you. So the key is to be in relationship with yourself rather than making them wrong, trying to dismiss them, get rid of them, shut up. Oh, I hate this. Those are the litany of things that you learned. It's learned behavior. And so it's coming in with compassionate understanding. And again, it supports me so much to visualize a younger self
mm.
and then to stop exiling them, stay engaged with curiosity and care. And that's where the real transformation happens. Yeah. What about for you? What pops up for you? I'm sure there's other pieces that we can share with our listeners.
Yeah, yes. Well, as you were talking about the journaling, I was thinking, oh yeah, that's so helpful. And a lot of research is showing how helpful that is, especially actually handwriting
Mhm.
versus typing on the computer. So
Oh,
for
yeah, it's a big difference because it's
uh,
tactile.
yes, yes. So that's something to keep in mind and encourage people to to write with your hands. It doesn't matter what your handwriting's like. You just
Yeah.
enjoy it. And I like really enjoy that because I have a sense of that too. I know that for learning, that really helps me is
Mhm.
to make notes and write when I'm writing. It helps to bring it into my brain. And
Integrate. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then also there's other research that talks about when you do a physical movement,
Hmm.
how much that can help. change your body to portray what it is that you want to be doing. For example, doing interviews. When you go in to do an interview, they say they did a study where they had a group of people do these power kind of positions where they'd stand
Oh,
up,
yeah.
have their
Hmm.
arms really big versus people that didn't. And it was significant, statistically significant, that the people
Yeah.
that did these embodiment of moves,
Hmm.
they had a successful interview.
Yeah.
So
Power poses, you know.
yeah, power pose. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're not, we're talking about other kinds of poses. Yeah, no, other kinds of things to
And
do.
allowing it though. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really interesting what there is available as tools.
Hmm.
If we stop and pause,
Yeah.
take it, slow it down, get connected with ourselves,
Hmm.
and look at choosing what fits for us and try out some different things
Yeah.
because,
Experiment.
yeah, to
Yeah.
find out what works for us best to help soothe and bring that wounding, the healing to that
Yeah.
wounding, that inner child, and look at reparenting ourselves.
Oh, definitely. I know my experience as a mother took me on this journey of reparenting me. And especially with my youngest two children, my son, where I really needed to get honest with myself around what's happening. I'm having such big reactions. I mean, what's really going on here, Gloria? And I remember one time waking up in the morning and I'd had this memory surface and I was all curled up in the fetal position, just feeling really little. And in that moment, it was like there was this memory of, oh, wait, accessing that I had a tool I could use, and it was the visualization. It's that time travel empathy, and it was as if with the morning sun that was coming in through the window, that like a guardian angel of an older me could come in and welcome me, and just come in and embrace and hold me, and it was so magical, and it was so um, somatic. It brought tears to my eyes. And that morning, then I was able to get up and do the same with my child.
Wow.
So having that experience embodied, it makes it available and accessible as you move forward in life and your relationships with others.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's another similarity that we have, Gloria, with our children bringing us more to this, well, bringing us to this work, because that's a similar impetus for myself too, was to be able to have better connection with my
Mhm.
children,
Yeah.
better communication skills. And as I learned, I wanted to learn more because I could see the connections. And then
Mhm.
the biggest thing was see the difference for me, what it was making for me, and how I could be different and in a way that was much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Gail, for sharing that transparently. And so, for our listeners, I want to invite you to really pay attention, to notice when you have these triggers that may come up, and to experiment. Experiment with these different ways of being with yourself. Experiment with what does it feel like and look like for you to begin to practice welcoming yourself rather than trying to stop it. It's a whole different thing. And I'd
Yeah.
love to hear from them. So please reach out and let us know.
Yeah. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, thank you, Gail. I look forward to our next talk.
I do too. Thank you, Gloria.